Welcome, all you free range junkers. It's Carrie Christensen, your host, your pick and pal, and junkyard Jezebel. We're here to talk about long, delightful walks through the flea market, our best tips for repurposing or growing your vintage collection or business, and how we all respect the rust. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode, this time with a guest. You don't have to listen to just Rick and I. I have one of my besties here, Sara Washburn, and her trusty dog, Blaze Ann. So if you hear dog tags rattling around or the groan of a dog, it actually is a dog. It is not Sara or I that the microphone is picking up. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today, everything from Sara's background to estate sales. So hopefully you'll find this episode a little interesting, but please help me welcome my friend Sara Washburn. Hi, Sara.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We thought it'd be fun to just talk a little bit about how our estate sale business went away and how yours started. But before we get into that, let's talk about your background a little bit, just so everybody has an idea of who you are and where you came from and what you've done. I find your background interesting. Hopefully they will too.
Right. Well, so I'm a Onalaska Holman, La Crosse, Wisconsin native. Right out of high school, I went to basic training with Army Reserves and got a MOS in automated logistics. So that was supply. So a lot of record keeping. Um, yeah, just inventorying, a lot of organizing. So
What's an MOS? What does that mean?
military occupational specialty. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you got it. Anyway, following that, well, at the same time, I should say, because it's the reserve, so you only drill on the weekends and a couple weeks in the summer and other things like that. But came home from basic and AIT, which is advanced individual training. Got a job at Quick Trip in the retail service industry. Did that for 17 years, and
Oh, wow. I didn't realize you were there that long.
yeah, it was a good gig.
For
Not a
those of you not from the Midwest who are not familiar with Quick Trip, it's a very large convenience store chain that there's one pretty much on every block in our area, but then they also are throughout the Midwest. I think last time I heard it was 300 stores or
over
more.
that. They're probably up to 500, if
You think
not
so?
more. But yeah, because now they're in 5 states.
Okay. Well, there you go.
But so I've always been in some sort of service related job, whether it be military, Quick Trip, just serving others, volunteering. I ran with a fire department and did EMS for a number of years. But I always like to try something different, not because I don't enjoy what I'm doing, but because I always want to learn something else and help people in a different capacity.
And I think you just exude that. That's what, when I met you for the first time, I thought this person's a genuine article that, when you say stuff like that, you live that. It's
Yeah.
not just something you say and then do the opposite. So,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So then you got into landscaping after Quick Trip.
Oh,
So
yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
Well, I needed to get outside because I was in the retail store for a long time. And so that meant, I think I just want to go plant trees and learn about plants. And so I got to help people basically recreate their inside of their house on the outside in their landscape. I know that might sound a little bit weird, but you look out of your house or you want to spend time outside, so you're comfortable in your house, you might as well try to recreate a setting outside
Mm-hmm.
that makes you comfortable and want to be out there. So hopefully it's not overwhelming and something. What the landscape should match the client, I
Mhm.
think. Like, do you want to make this a high maintenance landscape, or do you want it easy to take care
Sure,
of kind
sure.
of thing? And how much time do you want to spend outside? So not only was landscape design my most favorite part, but so was the installation and picking out the right plants for
Mhm.
these each client, because everything is individualized, and that brings me to talking about like organization. Like, everybody works differently. Everyone's
Yeah.
situation is unique, whether
Sure.
that be landscape design, whether it be organizing inside a house or, well, even the things that you find when you're starting to prepare an estate sale.
Mhm.
Everything is different.
Mhm.
So you're just really, I guess, trying to figure out the best way to represent that client,
Mhm.
if that makes
Oh,
sense.
absolutely. I mean, everybody's brains are different, right? My daughter
Yes.
and I talk about that a lot, that like my closet's organized by here are the t-shirts, here are the sweatshirts, here are the jeans. Hers is by color.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same with your house, your belongings, the things that are important to you. We all organize our stuff in different ways. So, your landscaping job then led to organizing, which is how I met you.
Mhm.
So, talk a little bit about that journey and how you went from landscaping to organizing.
One part of it is, I'll say 51% is I had to make a little bit of a change because I had kind of a shoulder thing going on with shoveling and raking and rock and
Sure.
all that stuff.
Hard
So,
on the body.
yeah. And so I wanted my shoulder to be able to continue to work as I got older. So I just kind of downshifted into a little less labor intensive landscaping and said, all right, well, how else can I help people in a different way that
Mhm.
I haven't before? Because I want to try something different, right?
Mhm.
And well, I know one thing is for sure is that you have to be you can't be afraid to fail when you're going to try something new.
Mhm.
I mean, you know
For
that it's
sure.
out there, but with trying to um create an organizing business. I, bought some books and read, oh, okay, well, it should be kind of common sense. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I don't want to miss anything.
Mhm.
So I kind of geeked out on researching, as much as it sounds easy to start an organizing business, there's so much to it.
Mhm.
So, whether that be running the business or thinking about hiring coworkers or how to represent yourself, what do you want to be known for? Like, what can you bring to the table that
Yeah.
somebody else
Yeah.
doesn't, kind of thing.
Yeah, any of those entrepreneurial
Yeah,
concerns. Sure.
yeah. And so this part you might have to cut out. But what was the question?
That's okay. So I do that sometimes too. I start talking and I'm like, wait a minute, I sidetracked myself.
Yeah,
So how you got into from landscaping to organizing. So you kind of covered
yeah.
why you want to do the organizing and the research you did and
Oh,
that kind of
right,
thing.
right.
But you've told me a story about your mom and how you helped your mom with
Oh,
an
yeah.
organizing job.
Okay, all right. So, let's see here. As I was transitioning out of landscaping, well, in 2019, my stepdad passed away. And then couple, 2, 3 years went by, and my mom said, all right, well, kids, I'd like you to have a rummage sale for me.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, great. Last rummage sale. Yep. Who did all this work? Well, all right. Yeah, my sister helped, so did mom, but I said, "All right, mom, let's start." And at this point, I had been reading a bunch of landscape or I'm sorry, I had been reading a lot of
Sure.
organizing books and
Yeah.
material
Yeah.
and so I recognized that mom was ready to start going through this stuff. And it wasn't all my stepdad's stuff. It was her stuff. I mean, they had 30 years in this house. And she's like, so much of the stuff I don't even know I have, or
Yeah.
I've never used it, or I'm done with this,
Yeah.
or, this. So, okay. So we started with the hallway closet, and it was like 3 hours, and it was just a hallway closet.
Yeah.
But there was wrapping paper, there were cards, there were candles, there
There's
were
emotion tied to everything. There's stories tied to
everything,
everything. Yeah.
and everybody has different emotions when it comes to going through their stuff,
Mhm.
whether it be fun and happy or
Sure.
sad and resentful.
And that can vary by the day over the same object. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
So all these things I saw come out of mom, it went great. I mean, yeah, we did take 5 months basically to go
Hopefully not to
through.
just clean that closet.
No, no. But we did the whole house, and
Sure.
she's like, "Ah, yeah, I'm done with this," or "No, I can't part with that yet." Hey,
Yeah.
that's just fine. The hardest part was books.
Mm.
Because as a child, my mom read a lot,
Okay.
and she still does,
Sure.
and so
Really enjoys it.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
clothing wasn't that big of a deal,
Yeah.
but books, so
Interesting.
everybody is, like, got their own thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but okay, so after those 5 months, we did have a rummage sale at my sister's house,
Uh-huh.
and was it worth it?
Was it worth 5 months worth of
Fi
labor? Probably not,
No,
but
monetary or financially or whatever, no. I mean, no,
yeah.
it definitely wasn't, but at the same time, yes, it absolutely was.
Sure.
Absolutely, because, I mean, there are so many reasons. One, there's not all that stuff left
Mhm.
I mean, sure, there's plenty left, but
Sure.
it's
It
desirable
helped.
things.
Yeah.
And what it taught me was, hey, if I can help my mom, you know, then I can pretty much help almost anybody,
Yeah. Yeah,
because not
for
saying
sure.
that mom was hard to work with. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, the patience and the compassion and taking the time to listen
Yeah.
and then to figure out what to say
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, they think, why would I need a professional organizer to do this? But the fact of the matter is, not everybody has an adult child living close to them.
Mhm,
Many folks, their kids are on the East Coast or the West Coast, far away, can't take the time to come home to help them organize a rummage sale or a closet. They're older in age. They can't lift boxes. They can't move them up and down stairs. They don't know where to go with them once they do. They may be caring for their spouse that's sick or elderly as well,
mhm,
have, doctor's appointments and a lot of things going on. So, that basic service provider kind of thing is, do we need somebody to clean our house? Do we need somebody to help organize? Do we need somebody to mow our lawn? Sometimes we do.
mhm.
And younger people that are physically able may not realize that. But when you get older, you definitely do need help with those things. So I think a lot of your clientele is older folks, correct?
It is,
Hmm.
but there's plenty of demographic to,
Yeah,
I guess, spread around or
sure.
whatever.
Yeah, because I know there's been some busy professionals you've helped with things too that just like if their skill set is being a physician, taking the time
Mhm.
to, clean out an attic or something isn't the best use of their time when they could be helping the community in their medical skills. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. Even, um realtors or it doesn't matter, stay-at-home moms even. You can be any profession.
Mhm.
What I see the most of is that people don't know where to start.
Mhm.
So they have this whole house and they're just overwhelmed by this incredible amount of stuff.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's I don't want to say worse than others. I want to say um sometimes there's more.
Mhm. Mhm.
And sometimes you walk in and you're like, "Boy, oh boy, how am I gonna even" doesn't matter, what your profession is, people just kinda don't know where to start. And sometimes there's a lot of stuff and sometimes there's barely anything and you're like, "Hmm." Sometimes you walk in and you're like, "Okay, this is gonna take us a long time."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
everybody also works at their own pace. And
Mhm.
so when I meet with people, um I say to them, "We will go at your pace. If you
Mhm.
want to um, take 5 minutes and look at each picture, I'm going to, maybe do that, for the first couple minutes and say, hey, this is going to be your homework
Yeah.
until the next time we come back."
Sure. It's a good
Um,
way to do that.
yeah, yeah. So they'll have homework. Most of the time, it's photos or kids' artwork. Um,
Things that
mm,
you kind of feel like you shouldn't be getting rid of, regardless if you
yeah,
enjoy them or not. There's just this guilt that we kind of have that makes us think
that's
we
a
need to hang on to things.
That's a big thing, especially with photos and, like, baby outfits or,
Sure.
Christmas ornaments,
Yeah.
that kind of, "Oh, I can't get rid of this."
Yeah.
Well, alright, you don't have to, but do you have the room for it?
Yeah.
It's when it comes down to it, is it do you have the room for it, and do you have enough room to safely store it?
Yeah.
And otherwise, hang on to it. You
Yeah.
know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's causing you stress because you don't have enough room and you're constantly walking around it and you just want to have a nice open room, then you have to make those tough
Yeah.
decisions. And so there's opportunity to store like even photos.
Mhm.
Go buy a scanner, scan them to a flash drive,
Mhm.
get one of those, little picture frames
Yeah,
that you can
for sure.
play over and over, or just have it on your computer and make 3 copies, upload it to your Google Photos, put it on a flash drive,
Mhm.
and maybe put it on another
Mhm.
flash drive. It's just because like you're throwing a picture away, and this can sound insensitive, but I mean, let's be real. You're throwing a piece of paper away. Yes, it has a picture on it of somebody that you love,
Mhm.
but you don't love that piece of paper. You love that person.
Right.
So if you're limited on space and then there's safety involved,
Mhm.
you have to determine that hard choice of
That was the dog, not Sarah's stomach or mine, by the way.
yeah. But yeah, so that's a hard part.
Yeah.
But
And you do a lot of teaching in the community with those types of things too. So that's actually how you and I met is I saw one of your advertisements for one of the speaking sessions you were doing when you talked, I forget if it was
well,
at
maybe
the
the library.
library or where it was, where you're teaching people some of those organizational tips like that.
Uh-huh.
And I just kind of saw that in one of our local advertisements, I think Cooley Region Women or somewhere. And I reached out to Sarah and said, "Hey, I would like to meet you because you sound kind of interesting." And at the time, as many of you know, we had an estate sale business and we haven't been doing the estate sale business because of our main business being busy and because of some health things I had going on. But I was still getting a lot of calls from seniors that were trying to downsize or from children of seniors that had passed away. And I had nowhere to refer them to because our community only had a couple other estate sale companies and I didn't feel super comfortable with that. And so I was thinking, well, she may not be doing estate sales, but it sounds like she could still be helpful to these people. So I'd really like to meet this woman and see if she's the genuine article like she seems like she is. So I just had reached out and said, "Hey, could we get together and chat a little bit?" And that was, I don't know, over 2 years ago, probably already at this point.
Could be.
I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So Sarah and I got together and I said, "Hey, tell me about your business," because I only know this little blurb that I read. And she kind of told me a lot of the things that she's just told all of you about her background and what she was doing and why she started her organizing business. And she was telling me that she'd started helping people set up for a couple of like downsizing sales or garage sales as she was doing organizing. And I said, "Can I ask why you're not just doing the full on estate sale? Because you're pretty much right there." And I think your response at the time was, "Well, I don't know. I guess
Hadn't
I
thought
hadn't,
about that
I
yet.
hadn't thought about it." And I said, "Well, this could work out really well because I'm getting referral phone calls that I can't take. You could, you're trying to grow your business and get the word out. You could use the business. And with what you think you don't know about doing an estate sale, I could show you here's how we'd been doing them. And then you can adapt your process from there." So we just started meeting regularly and talking about what estate sales look like, what the steps were, how similar it was to organizing, because it was dealing with a lot of those same emotions and memories. And should I hang on to this? Should I not hang on to this? Um, but the basic core concept of caring for the community in a compassionate and thoughtful way was the same. And that's, why Sarah and I decided to partner up together and kind of be this great system for the community of if they were calling me, I was referring them to Sarah and then she could figure out if they needed downsizing, organizing, estate sale, whatever the situation was. She was more equipped to handle all of that. So I'm trying to think of what the first one that you did was with me.
Steve Doyle.
Was it the Doyles? Yeah. So the Doyles were someone I've known my entire adult life. And their parents were moving into senior housing and they had a lifetime of memories in their house to work through. And so Sarah took that sale on and we kind of worked it a little bit together and every step from meeting with the family to say, what do you have that you want to sell? How does this need to go for you? I don't know. We can just talk about that a little bit, how
Listing
that went.
things on Marketplace,
Mm-hmm.
um, identifying what was saleable, what wasn't, pricing. That's something that was like that's almost the hardest part is going through and pricing because you wanna move the stuff
Mhm.
for them,
Mhm.
but you also want to represent the family as best as you can and try to get them, money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For whatever, for care later or for whatever, but
And I think that was one of your biggest trepidations, if I remember correctly, is like you were,
Mhm.
the business ownership part you had under your feet already because of having your landscaping, your
Sure.
organizing businesses. But it was the different steps in advertising the estate
Yeah.
sale, pricing the estate sale.
Getting the word out,
Yeah.
building our brand really for
Yeah.
estate sales, and then just know like, it's like you plan a party, but is anybody gonna come?
Yeah. That's very much the
You
feeling.
know? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, because it's just like a graduation party or a wedding. It's
Yeah,
weather dependent, it's time
right?
of year dependent, it's did they see the
Yeah, are
invitation?
there competing
Yeah,
events? And,
100% similar.
signage, I think, we y I ugh. I ask people, "How did you find our sale?" "Oh, I saw it on Facebook," or "I saw it on Craigslist," or "I followed the signs."
Mhm,
It's never, "Oh, I saw your flyer up at Quick Trip."
mhm.
It's not that, but it's mostly word of mouth,
Yeah.
and, I
Our society has really changed that way, and in our area, just if you're not from our area, we're very Facebook heavy, social media wise. Like Twitter has a little bit of a presence here, but not much. Instagram with a younger crowd, but not much.
Mhm.
Like Sarah said, the flyers at a Quick Trip used to be very
Effective.
helpful and effective until social media came along, but
Mhm.
our local newspaper isn't very effective anymore because it's not even printed here and people don't read it. So, really, social media signs and word of
Yeah,
mouth is it.
exactly, and we well, our logo, that's nice and, present, it's bright, but I also wear my work shirts out quite a bit,
Hmm.
and we wanted to kinda talk about this where, um, out in the community, like, I give plasma at CSL Plasma, and there was a gal sitting next to me, and she was new, and, this has nothing to do with Piece by Piece at this point, but I
That's the
said
name of Sarah's business, by the way.
oh, yeah. Um, I looked over and she had the newbie bag, and I
Mm-hmm.
recognized that every new person gets this little bag, right? And I said,
Okay.
"Oh, are you new here?" And, "Yep, yep, I'm new." And, well, one thing led to another. She, um, turned out to, be another great donor that, has gone regularly, but, also she said, I was thinking about" uh what did she say? She says, "Would you be interested in coming to look at a storage unit I have?" And so, just because that we started talking at Plasma, here there's another opportunity to help her get rid of some of her items in her storage unit, and I don't know.
And at the time, she was running a storage unit complex, right? She had her own, but she was running a storage unit complex. So
Yes.
she knew of more as well. And so that was just one of those happenstance moments where you're just like, well, yeah, I can come and take a look, and it might lead to more business. It might lead to other things. And that was one of the first storage units you'd cleaned out, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Sarah's business to that point had been organizing and starting estate sales and really hadn't done any cleanouts yet. And when we had our estate sale business, we did cleanouts, nursing home and assisted living room cleanouts. We also did the estate sales and some downsizing, offsite sales, and things too. So it was kind of just stepping stones to what more you could offer for your business and weren't sure exactly what to expect. So just if you've never cleaned out a storage unit, and I know that a lot of people ask us about that a lot because they see TV shows where people buy the whole storage unit and it's so glamorous and it's filled with cabinets full of money and there's all these hidden treasures. Yeah, in reality, remember, that's reality TV. It's like the Kardashians. It's not real. So in reality, it's storage units are usually full of junk. People are usually paying to rent them lots of hundreds of dollars a month for junk that they didn't want, but they didn't know how to get rid of or what else to do with. So it's often been sitting there a long time. It's often gotten wet, or there's been mice, or it's very dirty or came out of a smoke-filled home and then it's been contained in a metal box that's heated and cooled up, with the seasons. So it smells amazing when you open the door. That's the reality of it, folks. It's not all full of money.
Mm-mm.
So, so yes, you went and asked me if I wanted to join you in looking at that storage unit.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun because I gotta say, out of all the storage units Rick and I have picked from, that was probably one of the best ones that we've ever picked.
Really?
Really, because there was just such a wide variety of things in there and some really cool stuff.
And then this morning there was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, we did one this morning before we recorded this, and we opened the door and went, "Yeah, no."
No, not
Shut
not
the
a
door.
not a thing.
So it definitely can vary, but every now and again, you find a diamond in the rough. I mean, I know a couple of guys that bought one time, and it looked like just solid walls of boxes, and when they got to the back, there was a boat. Well,
Hmm.
you can resell a boat and make a little bit of change.
Wow.
So that was a win for them, and they didn't even know it was in there when they bought the storage unit. So
Hmm.
you never know. You can
That's
get
right.
lucky. It's a little bit of a gamble,
Yeah.
but yeah, back to the point you were trying to make originally when we started this story about the
Oh,
storage unit, kind of
oh
the word
yeah.
of mouth and advertising your business. If you are thinking of going into any business, regardless if it's estate sales or antique store or organizing or whatever, as an entrepreneur, you are always advertising your business and you are always utilizing conversations and word of mouth to get the word out about your business because nobody else is going to publicize your business like you will.
Hmm.
So you have to be conscious of that. And whether that's you have your car vinyled with your logo and your contact information, or you're wearing your shirts when you go out and about, like you were mentioning, or a hat, or whatever the case may be, we've found over the years that's really effective advertising. And people will ask you, "What is that logo? What do you do? Is that your business?" And then you start telling them, and just like with your plasma story, it leads to a lead or
Hmm.
business. So in that storage unit that you're giving blood conversation was before, we probably pulled out, I don't know, thousands of dollars worth of stuff, I would think, between the two of us that we were able to buy from that woman and
Yeah.
and help reduce what she had in her storage unit.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun picking through stuff,
Yeah.
I think.
And I think she'll refer us to more people
Yeah.
down the line.
Yeah, that's the thing too, like, when you're self-employed, you want your relationships with customers, clients to be positive so that they do tell their friends because that word of mouth, um, saves you advertising dollars. That's Blaze in the background again, by the way. Just stating her opinion. Blaze goes with us on a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much every time we see Sarah, we also see Blaze. She's a really good sidekick.
Mm.
She's looking at us right now from across the room like, "When is this gonna be done?" So we've been talking now for about 30 minutes. So I guess I will say, do you have any other estate sales stories you want to share or anything about the estate sale business you want to talk about, Sarah? I'm trying to think.
That it's okay to say no
Yeah,
also.
yeah, that's true.
It's
Eh,
a that's
That was definitely Blaze saying, "Oh my God, how much longer is this going to last?" in dog speak.
well, because it's hard for me to say no sometimes because I wanna continue to help everybody, but there has to be one of those lines drawn at times where there's
Mhm,
just not enough, or if you're too busy doing other things, like, of course, I'm still continuing to do landscaping. Landscaping in the spring, same
mhm,
calendar year as well, I shouldn't say calendar year, but same demand as estate sales.
mhm.
It's, very, very heavy. Now with the weather, it was April, May, June. So now I'm finally getting to some of the things I've been wanting to do for a few months. But, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things that we always said to Sarah too is that as estate sale clients go, or just any client, whether it's in the estate sale world or anything else, when you're self-employed, one of the benefits of that is you have the ability to say no. And so if you are meeting with a client that you just don't have a great feeling about, or you just don't think it's going to be a successful relationship, and that can vary from everything from the client is pretty needy, they're maybe not settled in their grief process if someone has passed away. We get a lot of phone calls from people that the person they just had their funeral like the day before or a couple days before, and they're like, "Okay, I'm ready to get rid of all this stuff." And it's like, you might be right now in this second, but you might also be very far from being actually ready, because ready means the family's gone through everything. They've taken out what they want. No one's still living in the house because it's impossible practically to do an estate sale when someone's still living in the house. You're trying to work around when they're there, when they're awake, when they're at work, when they're, whatever the case may be. You're trying to sell the sofa they're sleeping on, the
Yeah.
bed they're sleeping on, so it's things like that that you kind of learn to walk away from and say, I can't do this sale because you're still living here and you haven't decided what you want to get rid of. So call me back when you're a little further on in your process and we'll be there to help you. Or, there's just obviously a lot of personality circumstances too that can make it so you don't want to work with a person. But then there's delightful folks too. When
Absolutely.
I look back on how many estate sales we did for families that I'm still in touch with,
Mhm.
or that were just so delightful to work with, that we would meet with them long after the estate sale was done just to catch up, or they'd have us over for coffee, or, whatever the case may be. You do make a lot of friends in this business as well.
Yeah.
Customers too that come to the estate sales. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
But
well, anything else you want to share? No?
no.
Okay.
But thank you very much.
Thank you for being my first guest. I so appreciate that. It's been fun having you on and talking about estate sales. And hopefully, it was enjoyable for you guys to listen to as well. So, as we close, I'll just say what I always say. If you have friends that are telling you you pick up too much stuff on the curb, you need to get better friends. Have a great day.